And we're back. Welcome to the Constitution Line by Line. I'm Paul Fabrizio.
And I'm Don Frazier.
And we're in Article 4, Section 3, Clause 1.
We're burning right through it. The grab bag article.
The grab bag article. And now we're going to talk about admitting new states to the country.
This is critical.
Why is it critical before I read it? Tell us.
Well, it's critical that you have a mechanism by how you incorporate newly acquired territory into the national fabric. Now, remember, let's go back to 1790.
Okay, 1787 is when they wrote that.
Yeah, so 1787, that time period. The western boundary of the United States is the Mississippi River. But you already have enough settlers in Tennessee and Kentucky that these guys are saying, all right, we'd like to play. You have the Northwest Territory organized under the Articles of Confederation, and they've broken it into various territories with the idea of how they will be matured into states and added to the Union. Now, are Kentucky and Tennessee states second class, or will they be states among equals? These are questions that people are wondering about at this time period. When you bring in these new states, how do you bring them into the fabric of the nation? So
this was
what's our line?
Important.
Yeah,
okay.
This is critical.
Okay, so new states may be admitted by the Congress into this union. I mean, that's the very first thing. You can accept new states. That's a big
Step
deal.
one, we can do this.
Yeah, but no new state shall be formed or erected within the jurisdiction of any other state, nor any state be formed by the junction of two or more states or parts of states without the consent of the legislatures of the states concerned, as well as of the Congress. Okay?
Now, that was violated.
Tell me, where?
West Virginia, 1863.
Okay.
Was peeled off of the seceded state of Virginia, but Virginia hadn't seceded according to Abraham Lincoln.
And Virginia did not approve of West
They
Virginia?
did not approve.
Oops.
Except that they probably had by that time put together a rump government, a unionist government for Virginia that voted for the separation of West Virginia. So, letter of the law, not the spirit of the law.
Okay. So, number one, states can be admitted.
Yes.
Number two, you can't be within the jurisdiction of any other state.
Yeah.
Okay.
The free state of Franklin or something like that, like in East Tennessee.
Right. Or in Oregon, the free state of Jefferson.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's what they talk about there. They're tired of the tyranny of Portland.
Ah.
And so they want to form
there's
their own
people
state.
wanting to divide California into North California, South California, coastal California, inland California.
And we live in Texas.
Texas.
What do people want to do with Texas?
But Texas actually retained the right in all of the annexation conversations of dividing into 5 states.
Okay. It can't succeed.
It cannot secede, but it can divide into 5 states.
Which part would we be in? Here in Abilene?
We'd probably be in
Would we
greater
in the
West
Panhandle?
Texas. Yeah, we'd probably be in the state of the Panhandle. I mean, that exercise of dividing Texas into 5 states is often visited by political geographers. And, I think we're usually lumped in with Lubbock and Amarillo.
So we would be the third wheel.
Yeah, and still the population would be half of what the other sections would have.
Wow.
Yeah, we're in the part of Texas nobody lives in.
Yeah. That's true. But it's a beautiful place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've had a great time here. So you can't do it within the jurisdiction of another state. It can't be formed by the junction of 2 or more states.
So the Carolinas can't get back together.
Okay. And you can't do it without the consent of the legislatures concerned. So, we've talked about possible divisions of states, etc. I always go back to the Panhandle of Oklahoma. There's just something about the Panhandle of Oklahoma.
There's not much to it. I mean, you drive across in 45 minutes.
Yeah, and having driven through it, there really is.
And that's at an angle.
Yeah, and there's not much there. And then you're in the Texas, which looks just like it.
Yeah, there's a big prairie dog town up there.
Yeah, and at one point, people in the Panhandle of Texas in Panhandle of Oklahoma said, we're being ignored by Oklahoma, so we want to join Texas, where we'll be ignored by Texas.
And culturally, you could give Beaumont to Louisiana if we got Shreveport.
But I don't want Shreveport.
Well,
but anyway.
we'd be giving up Boudin.
So,
for sure.
so there's ways to do these things if we want to do it.
But there's permissions and things that you have to go through to get there.
Right.
And so this is about admitting new states. Yes, we can admit new states, and then there'll be other mechanisms for how new states are formed.
Right. And what we need to know is that the framers did not set a limit on how big the United States could be.
Correct.
There is a process to get new states. And we have to be honest, Puerto Rico has a couple of times in the last 30 years voted on the question of whether they want to be a state.
Yeah, I have no idea how come they're not a state.
They have not decisively made that move.
Yeah, I understand that.
So until...
So they can't get it through their own...
Right, because they can become a state, they can become independent, or they can stay as they are.
Which is the best of all worlds. Or not.
And I believe at least the last vote they took by the citizens, and this is, I believe during the administration of Bill Clinton, I believe the last vote they had was more people, a plurality, wanted to become a state, but it wasn't a majority. Mm-hmm. And so you need people to agree.
Yeah.
And so without that...
It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. The last states to be admitted, Alaska and Hawaii.
Yeah.
In my lifetime, which is so weird to think.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so you missed all that.
I did.
And I was too young to notice it.
Yeah. You were born under a 48-star flag.
I was. You know, I thought.
Tell me a story about the old days, Grampy.
Yeah, exactly. There was black and white TV in those days.
Wow.
Did you know?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. So anyway, the reality is, how many states? 13 original states. So the remaining states have all been added through this process.
Well, and Vermont was kind of a peel-off state.
A peel-off state from?
New Hampshire and New York both claimed that territory. Okay. And Vermont said, no. We're going to live free or die.
We're going to live free or die. All right. I don't know what else to say about this. It just is. We can add new states, and we can keep on adding new states if people want to.
Maine was part of Massachusetts.
Yeah. You know, probably 15, 20 years ago, there was talk. Maine was part of Massachusetts. Yeah. Wow. There was talk of Canada.
Maritime provinces.
Maritime provinces join the United States, and the western provinces.
The prairie provinces. And then let
the
Quebecois be the Quebecois.
Exactly. So there was talk of that. And conceivably, there's nothing to prohibit it in the Constitution. So.
God, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Then poutine would be American cuisine.
Is that good?
Yeah. Have you ever had it?
No, I don't know what it is.
It's just French fries with a bunch of stuff stacked on top of it.
Okay. All right. Anyway, that's this Section 3, Clause 1.
That's our line. More lines next time.